Hello, this is Brendan from the Nexus. I'm going to be doing a continuation of my showcase of mod Helgen Reborn. I'm going to be picking it up after the changing of the guard quest, which is where you go out, find and train various assembly different guards. If you remember the original one that I did a long time ago, it was actually through a previous playthrough. I've had to start all over again due to a variety of reasons. Obviously, I've added in an EMB because of an upgraded GPU. And I've changed out my mods a little bit. But if you remember last time, we got up to the point where they just started to do some clearing of the rubble and just added in a few people. This picks up after a great deal of the rubble's been cleared and some of the reconstruction has begun, and Helgen now has guards. And when you come to, there's an option when you're doing that you get to choose whether you're going to go with the Imperials, the Stormcloaks, or go independent. I chose to go independent, which is why the banners you see here have a hammer and anvil symbol of the Keepers of Hatu. This is probably one of the more interesting routes to go due to the fact that it gives you a whole lot of different options, and an independent Helgen is, frankly, a little bit more my style. As you can see, the officers have plate armor that is customized with the symbol of the town, and the guards that you train up all have pretty conventional guard armor, with the exception that it's got the hammer and anvil symbol on it. The town has been cleared of rubble to a great extent. Let's switch to first person to get rid of that focus effect. The cow I added in Pocket Empire Builders because I thought the town needed a cow, but this is pretty much what it looks like in the mod. Now, as you'll notice, there's still some debris. A lot of damaged buildings and whatnot. Some of the buildings have been repaired. But you'll also notice a lot of lumber piles, and when you come over here to the inn, which is where the workers are living, there's, at this stage now, scaffolding, lumber piles, and there's people working on it. This is probably one of the things that I love the most about this mod, is the fact that you don't just see a building appear. You actually have a progression that goes through it, where it goes from rubble to rubble being worked on. Let's see, they're still deconstructing. I think they broke for lunch. But you'll get workers that'll be working on those piles of rubble, trying to break them up. There's a couple of workers right there. But they'll be breaking up the rubble, and they'll be working on repairing the buildings. This is the private tower. Obviously, this is where you're getting your head chopped off in the vanilla introduction, rather. So, this is the tower that you had. You could never access it originally, so my concho's done a completely unique interior for this. It's actually pretty extensive. Alright, this is the interior. This is sort of your living room / dining room. Now, these two NPCs I added in with Pocket Empire Builders. They do not come with the mod, but I felt needed a little bit more livening up. Other than that, everything you see here, with the exception of one candelabra upstairs, is as it comes in the mod. Upstairs you have a loft bedroom, which has quite a bit of storage space. You've got safes, you've got bookshelves, the whole 9 yards that you can add to. And this end table right here, when you complete the quest, you actually get a set of both types of the armor from the guards, the officers as well. Being the hero of Helgen, you probably would choose the officer's armor. I generally go with better armor because I craft my own. But that's a nice little touch. You get to feel like a part of a town when you do that. Coming down here, you'll notice a door here. This goes down into the basement area. This button right here enables the mannequins. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but I think at one point you could push it to disable the mannequins, but there was an issue where if you did so while they still had things on them, they could disappear or it might not come back. Not sure. I'll put a note in the video if I find out whether Mike fixed that or not. Alright, continuing with the tour downstairs, which I will take the moment to point out that this video, the making of, has been cursed from the beginning. This is no less than the 6th time I've tried to do this. I've had issues with Bandicam crashing, I've had issues with my toddlers coming charging in here while I'm trying to record, tripping over the cords and pulling things out. It's been a pain in the butt, so please appreciate how much effort went into making a simple little overview video. Alright, this is the downstairs. This is the armory, or former armory, which has been spruced up quite a bit. Now, this has got a lot of things in it that I like. The storage chests are really bloody handy because of the fact they're all labeled. Now, they're standard wardrobes, they've just been relabeled, but if you do a lot of crafting like I do, or you're a pack rat and whatnot, and you like to organize your stuff, got a bit of, Skyrim OCD, you don't want to have to dig through various sundry chests, this is a good way to organize it and separate it out in a way that you don't have any, it just literally, boom, go there, where your light armor is, where your axes are, where your collectibles, stuff to sell, etc. It's really handy. This is the actual display room proper, and these are standard display cases. These displays have some issues, which I'll get to in a minute, but they act differently than conventional displays. They act more like you're putting stuff into a chest. Obviously, you can see I've got Malakath's Cleaver and a few other quest items here and there. For the most part, they're pretty standard items from various sundry mods that I have. I use Chronicles of Steel to put in realistic Norse swords, which I really love, and you'll see those displayed throughout. And I didn't like the way the Forsworn blades were, so that modifies them a bit. Alright, this is the central hub from which everything else branches off to. Now here you have your crafting station. Now, I have a lot of followers, and this house was not geared for them. It's a single bed residence only. So I added in some monks with Pocket Empire builders and a couple of wardrobes here. So you won't see these beds in your version of it, unless you do the same thing I did.
Yes.
Now, here's where I ran into an issue with the display cases. I tried to activate it to put a staff in this one, and it ate the staff. As you can see, it acts just like you would if you're putting something into a chest. You go through and put it in. But sometimes weapons, both vanilla enchanted weapons and custom weapons, it won't take them. Or actually, it will take them, but they won't appear. And they won't show up in the inventory at all. They'll just disappear. But it won't let you put any other weapons in there. So my advice is, until we figure out whether that's my game specifically with all the mods that I'm running, or if it's a glitch in the display cases, my best advice would be to save before you put something on a weapons flag. Alright, continuing on, you've got the display case for the Dragon Claws. There's 4 per shelf. Obviously, I've been a bit of an underachiever in that regard. You have your alchemy station, places to store poisons, potions, etc. And this place, this bookcase here, stores books, but it doesn't display them, which is a bit strange, but it's handy because I have a mod that includes all the Icelandic sagas, which, being a history buff, I love having those. But they don't display well on shelves. They just tend to merge into one another and glop, so it's handy to have a book storage space where you can put them, where I don't have to worry about the display being all buggered up. This is the armory slash trophy room for me, because it's where I put the armor of some of my vanquished foes. There's no Dragon Priest armor in here, so this was sort of the stand-in for them. Obviously I killed a lot of vampires. I don't know what it is, but this thing does not like Volendrung. Every single time I've walked in here, it's been on the floor. But this will give you an idea of how this works. And voila, there it is in the wall. Bandits, Thalmor, Aldmari Dominion, and the Imperials. I may not be a Stormcloak, but I don't like them. Mostly because I side with the Thalmor. And then, of course, armor that I've displayed that I liked, that sort of thing. The Gilded Nordic Carved Armor, which I love that mod. And some of more weapons from the Chronicles of Steel, bows, etc. It's pretty well laid out. Again, I advise caution, save before you put anything on the racks, just in case it's not my game, but actually the display racks have a glitch in them somewhere. I'm going to talk to Mike about that and see if we can troubleshoot it out. Now, there's displays in here for various and sundry things. This is, these 2 display cases don't show anything, nor do they have activators. So I'm assuming that, like some of the other things in here, it's as you do quest items, as you get them, they start appearing in here, the bust, etc. The display for the Dragon Priest masks is really, really handy, although obviously, again, I'm an underachiever in that regard. Now, you'll notice banners that have empty hangers and a few that actually have something on them. As you become part of certain factions, their banners will appear here. For example, the Greybeards have done that faction, and the Companions have done that faction. Their banners appear. Floating under somewhere, there it is Whiterun's banner, because I'm a Thane of Whiterun. In this room, as you become a Thane of different holds, the banners will appear. Only a Thane of Whiterun right now, because I've been running around beating up monsters too much. This is the cavern level. Now, this is actually an interesting level because of the fact that it takes display cases to a whole new level. As you can see, rather than have the standard display cases you get from Hearthfire, this actually takes them and makes them pretty nice. Now, defeated Dragon Priest, so I've got a display of one of those, and I've become a member of the Greybeards faction, so to speak, so I've got one of those. I've killed probably 10 trillion different Draugr, and therefore a little diorama display here. And I like this because it's actually a diorama instead of just the figure sitting up in a box. The empty ones will be filled up as I get them. Patsy is an NPC that does taxidermy. Hag Ravens, obviously. When you take the components that are in the book that you get for the specific display, Patsy will put them together into some rather interesting displays. Also, as you find standing stones, the guardian stones, they'll actually appear here. The first 3 you find are right here together, and then others appear down in the cavern below. Now, this display of the Frostbite Spider I regret making because I've shot this thing numerous times out of reflex. But for those of you that like spiders, if that's your thing, have at it. And this is the cavern area. Now again, I use realistic lighting overhaul and Real Vision ENB, so it's bloody dark on interiors. Hopefully, as I add more stuff, it'll illuminate things better, because each item, each display, does get some of its own illumination. Spriggan, giant mammoth, etc. A couple of different dragons that I've killed. Swamp dragon over there in the shadows. And if you look over there, you can see one of the other guardian stones that I found. There's like 3 others in here. They're stashed away in various little places. There is a lot of room in here. Now, I know that at some point after you've completed the main quest, you will get a display of Alduin, but I've been playing this game since release, and in all of the numerous playthroughs that I've done, I've actually never completed the main quest. My wife beat me to it. She did it in like a month, whereas here I am a couple of years later and I still haven't done it because I've been so busy modding and restarting games. Those of you that know me know how many mods I carry. They're usually about 210 to 250, so I push it to the limit. As you notice here, you can actually activate these stones. So it behooves you to go out in the wilds and find them, because if you want to switch back and forth between stone effects, so to speak, you don't have to go running all over Hell's Creation to find them. They're right here in the cavern, and you can just switch back and forth down here. More display space. Obviously, you've got a river not running through here. I don't know what the full extent of it is when you've gotten everything put in here. The book gives an indication that I've got most of the static displays. They're going to show up, but there might be more that pop up because of quests. Mike's pretty good about doing that. And so I can't guarantee that the spaciousness of that cavern is going to remain so, but if it does, you might be able to add things in, Tender Defense or Pocket Empire Builder. And back upstairs and I'll show you the roof. Okay, we're back upstairs in the bedroom. I decided to skip the rest of the house, just for brevity. And here you have a ladder that goes upstairs. It's Skyrim weather being what it is. I went in, it was sunny, come out, it was cloudy, and probably going to rain or snow a lot or two. But anyway, this is the roof. Other than the planter with the aspen tree, everything you see here is what you get. But from here you can get a pretty good view of the rest of Helgen. You can see down below. There's the workers working on the stones, clearing the rubble. You've got the training yard down below. And the keep over there, which has been changed, I'll show that in a later update. Mostly for time's sake. And just going skirting around, you get to see a pretty good dose of Helgen. And once it's completed, I've actually completed the entire thing through another playthrough. All of these buildings will be rebuilt or replaced with other buildings, and you will have an expanded Helgen, actually larger than it originally was. You'll have all the way down this slope here, down to probably about where the end of where the road is down there. You can see there's buildings, shops, etc. Now, I've not seen if it expands any further than that. From what I understand, that was the finished part of it. I plan on expanding it out with Tundra Defense, so when I shoot the video, I'll try to remember to do so before I start expanding on the fortifications. But if I forget and I do it, then I'll make sure I note what comes with the mod and what is in addition to it. So anyway, that's Helgen Reborn, and I will be back again with an update when I get to the next stage of the quest.